Amos Goodridge Jr. and my dad is Amos Goodridge Sr. or was Amos Goodridge Sr. And his parents were James N. Goodrich and Nancy Goodrich, Nancy Caroline Goodrich. And yeah, I never met Jimmy. I never met him. I heard some stories about Jimmy, but not. My dad never elaborated too much on Jimmy, but we all heard it from other people that Jimmy was a tough guy. Andrew didn't live too far from there, and Jimmy was looking for a needle one time. You know, he used to sew, and he was looking for a needle, and grandma and Andrew heard him. He said, "Well, I can't find my needle, and you guys better find it. If not, if I find it, I will stick it in somebody, you know." So Andrew heard about that, and she sent her needle down to Jimmy. She said, "Take it to Jimmy before you stick the needle in somebody something." But anyway, that was but my memory with my grandma. I tell you, man, that woman was an angel. That woman, she was just different. I never seen anybody in my life like her. I was a young man, but every time we went to Crozierville, because we did that every year to see grandma and spend a week there with her. That was a fascinating time in my life. Grandma Nancy was second to none, man. I tell you the truth. That woman, I tell you, when Grandma Nancy died, Crozierville was never the same for me. Every time I went to Crozierville, was just going to Crozierville to go to church, but it was never the same. I mean, but because Grandma Nancy she was just different. And then Jacob Palmore, he was quiet and nice. That guy, he was so classic. I mean, and it was fun. It was fun in our house. We had some great time in our house. Uncle L.A. Gao, you know, used to be always come there, you know, with shit face all the time. L.A. Gao was a character. Carol was no wife for families, uncles and other people. John Goodridge, I probably said we spent some time there on the farm, Corner Town. My dad probably took us there for a couple of days, but Grandma Nancy was our pillar. She was our pillar. We was so look forward to seeing Grandma Nancy so many times. Every time we go there, and she loved every one of her grandchildren. She was just special. She was special. Yeah, Patty. Yeah, Patty was a great guy. I mean, I tell you, I admire Patty. We used to go there, Patty all dressed up in the white shoes. And the guy was a classic, man. He was a classic. I mean, I think all my dressing and all that stuff that I think I got it from Jacob Palmore, man. I tell you the truth. Because that guy was a classic guy, man. I mean, every time I saw the guy, he was always neat. Always neat. I said, that old man, one day I want to be like that old man. I'm telling you. And I like clothes. I got all that from Jacob Padmore, to tell you the truth. Yeah. So, yeah. You see the thing about dad was always working. When we came from, because we were born in, the first group of children were born in Monrovia, Snapper Hill. And we came to, our dad brought us to Turota after he graduated from University of Liberia in 1952. And he built a house in Turota there, and that's where we moved. And we stayed to the town until we all left and went our own way. But that was our home, from home, Turota. And we did everything in Turota. We had a big farm there. We lived on the farm. Guy was a character. He was a character. He was one of the toughest human beings I ever saw. But he did it for the good reason. Because of all this all his toughness, that's why some of us still surviving today. The first guy that were little babies. But we grew up. We grew up on the farm seeing our dad. The guy was so hardworking. He planted rubber on Turota farm. Had a big rubber farm there, big rubber farm. And the whole, on a 300-acre land, just about most of that land was rubber. And we watched the rubber grow. We saw that rubber being typed and start selling rubber when we grew up. And then my dad he would find any way to take care of his family. We used to make blocks too. He used to sell blocks. He used to kill cows every other weekend to sell. He did a lot of little small things. But he was an engineer too. He works when he graduated from the University of Liberia. He worked with George Dunbar for a while building roads. And then when George Dunbar stopped working, he decided to work with public works as a resident engineer. And he worked with them until the last till I left there in the 70s. Yeah. Then he retired. But yeah. He then besides that to that farm, he started to that farm and he ended up buying another farm in Batala. We work our vacation job or working on the farm. We work on the farm. We used to Saturday and Sunday, he never worked Saturday and Sunday with the government. So we used to prepare Saturday morning. We used to get in our truck and go to Batala, the other farm in Batala there. And what he used to do, he used to take people, maybe a truckload of people to go down to help cut the trees down, burn the flame, we plant cassava, plant oranges and all that kind of stuff. So we built a house there too on the farm in Batala also. Yeah. So we used to work. Oh yeah, we used to work too. Work hard. I mean hard. We used to work just like the people. Mm-hmm. That's why we know how to work. We used to work. I mean, not all of us, just Spencer, Hiram, Nat, and I, because the rest of the kids were all we work hard too. Yes. And always told us if you want something, you gotta go and get it. He said, you can't blame somebody for your downfall because the opportunity is given to you. If you don't take advantage of it, that's your fault. I mean, and he told us straight. And he shows us he did it by example because the guy used to work at a public work job and he get home, he thinking about how to make money to take care of us. And I remember when he had, and they had almost 16 kids, so 16 children. So, and but I tell you the truth, he did a lot because he sent us to all good schools. When we started, in fact, we started at the beginning when Tutman had a school in his farm. They call it Collegwe, which right in Tutman compound was elementary school, and we all went to that school. We used to see Tutman like I see you. I mean, Tutman was to see Tutman all the time. And we grew up there from that school. Then from there we went on a mission. Through that mission, then I went to LTI. We would walk to the president's house from the school. Yeah, so we used to see him most of the time. And we didn't live too far from Tutman Farm. Our farm wasn't too far from Tutman Farm. Yes, yeah. But that was a lot of experience. We grew up. To tell you the truth, I hate to say, but when I grew up, we had a generator from the time I knew myself. So my dad did everything to keep us, on point because I had a generator, and those days we had those straw mattresses, and we those straw mattresses, and after a while he got rid of those and got the rear mattresses, and then the bigger the family got, he added addition to the house. I mean, and we had, like I said, we had 16 kids, so we had kept adding to the house, The house just got bigger and bigger. But one thing he taught us was, if you want to go to school, you want to go on campus, I got to pay for your tuition. You got to pass. If you don't pass, you're not going back the next year. You got to go to the public school, prove yourself, then you go back. But fortunately for some of us, we never failed. So we all stay on campus from elementary school straight to high school graduate. And I left there and I went to, I was supposed to go cutting them, but I was sick of being in the bush. So I ended up going to LU for a few years. I went to engineering college, but then it was not working out. So I just decided to. Then I started working with Public, and because I did live with Public after a while. And I decided to help him finish the house in Crozierville. And then from there, when he died, then I worked with GSA for a while, and then I came over to the United States. Yeah. But then at that time, I didn't have my paper, so I couldn't pay my tuition. We paid to a certain land, and then after a while, I think I had a few semesters to graduate, but I had no money. Then I ended up getting married and all that kind of stuff. I had kids. That threw me off, but yeah. But yeah, a great family man because this guy, the thing about it, my father grew up with Jonathan. Jonathan sent my dad to school to get his college education. So Jonathan, and so my Jonathan and my dad got some similar ways. The only difference with my dad and Jonathan is my dad is hot headed, but Jonathan was kind of cool. That's the only difference. Jonathan was cool, but he was just as Goodridge is how we are. He was just it was Goodridge period. But he was not like my dad. My dad was so hot headed. Was different. He was kind of different kind of guy. But yeah, but the Jonathan, uh, this guy was a quiet giant. He was. Yeah, I used to. I tell you, I saw so much side of Blake that when I lived with Blake, when I first got there, everything was different, and people don't know you. They know you as a relative, but they don't know you as a person. So you develop, that kind of rapport with them, and more especially with my uncle. And then my uncle knowing my father, my father, he took care of my dad. So he's just hoping, God, oh, it must be like his father. But he didn't say it openly. But then when I get there, I'm more than my dad. I took care of him like like you can think about. And then, the relationship between us was just gorgeous. It was just, it's, I can't even explain it. It was so close that I used to wait for the guy before I go to bed at night because I want to make sure he's home. And he gets home and he and I talk a little bit and he goes to bed. The next morning, get him money. As I walk, he still used to ask me to tie his shoes. Okay. And I didn't mind. I didn't think it was anything. Because you know what, if you tie his shoes, that would be tied for the whole day. It won't come back. So, but then when I stopped going to school, so public say it was we. So he said, well, let's try to finish our project in Crozierville. I said, yeah, okay. I'll help you do that. So then we start working on that project in Crozierville. We had a well that somebody started a well, they didn't finish the well, so I told public, I can do that. I can finish that well. So I went and cut in that hole, finished the well, and then we built that tower in the yard. I was part of that deal too. And we did a lot of work. But I was so close until I still with public when the public died. I was in the hospital when public died. I was in the hospital. Well, in fact, we left Monrovia that weekend to go to Crozierville because everybody was coming to the house and he wanted some quiet time. So public said, Amos, let's go Crozierville. So pick the bag, I went to Crozierville, go there. And the condition got worse a little bit. So we called Talbot. We called the president. The president came down to the house. And I was in the living room. He said, when he came to me, you know where I was, my dad or my uncle. He said, where's your dad? I said, oh, he's in the room. So he went in the room to public. But public was not feeling too well. So he said, well, you take him to the hospital. So we called the driver, we put in the BMW, he and I, and we went to the hospital. And we got to the hospital, he started feeling worse and worse and worse. And that was the saddest time. And then at one point he said to me, it must look my head. This part of my head is so hot, just keep rubbing alcohol. And I kept rubbing the alcohol there, rubbing the alcohol. And it was just getting worse and getting worse. And we tried calling the authorities, but they didn't show up. And then finally, he came in the room and told me, Amos, your uncle is not going to make it. It was the saddest day for me. I hate to talk about it, but it was sad. It was a sad day. It was a sad day for me. Just to bring it back, it was real bad. It was bad. Yeah, no, he was this guy. And some of the things I used to see, cause when the people this guy was watching for Master Amazing, and those boys would come pick him up to carry him to a meeting. And I used to sit there, and the guy used to come, J.G. G, Green, Romeo Horton, all those boys coming along. Prof, they call him Prof. And Prof get in our car, he take Prof to society meeting. And Prof come back and bring that whole pig hall, the head, everything in it. The grandmaster gave me everything. All those things I used to saw. This guy was a great guy. Was a great guy. We had a great guy there, family we didn't know that much about, but this guy was he was number one guy, great guy. The other guy, the oldest guy died.
Oh,
In our family, what some people still don't understand in our family, some people in our family still don't understand that our tradition in our family is that first cousins are sisters and brothers. And we call one another, anybody older than you is a bar or sis. Somebody older than you, like, or somebody who you think you got high regard for, like you. I'm probably older than you. I still call you sis because I do have high regard for you. And other people that come for the same thing, I come probably about the same age, but think about it. The people you have high regard for, people you know, you have some who you know will be there for you, or somebody who you know will not let you down. You always want, but more especially those who were brought up that anybody who older than you in the family, you got to call them big brother or big sister. That's the bottom line. There's no question about it. There's no if to say, oh, I think. No. It's not thinking about it. That's how it is and how it been. But Amos, but my sister still coming for Amos. All my other sisters. Even my brother, the other don't come for Amos. Only that don't come in there because, we big boy now, so, but besides that. Yeah. But we call one another the older people, the big God, Amos, boy, that. Look, I'll tell you the truth. I call my dad, we used to call our dad Godpa. That's the funny part. And the only reason why we call our dad Godpa, because we grew up on Snapper Hill there with Comfort Hammer, and all those people there. They used to call my old man Godpa. So the only thing we knew was Godpa. So we said, to see the guy, we were young kids. They call him Godpa. We say, yeah, we call him Godpa too. So then we go, we say, man, what the hell is this? This guy's our dad. We call him Godpa. So and I fixed that. And then after we got older, but yeah, you know how we do. That's how it is in the family. You follow the trend, and that's what we did. Yes. Yep. Like Bolo, we call him Bolo. Uncle Bennett. It's Bolo. We just call him Uncle. Uncle Bennett, Bob Bennett, or something, Bob Richmond. You know what I mean? Yep. I can speak better right now. Yes. Ilawa Bay. Ilawa Bay, Plumina. Yang ang twa Bon County. Nang palato na ku tiga public works. Noan tama na de nang wal nang tiga na adama. You know what I'm saying? So I speak Pele. I grew up in Toronto. My father took us to Bon County. We lived there. And my father speak Pele too. And the people love my dad. Tell you what one thing about my dad that people did not understand, but now I thought about it a few weeks or a few months ago. My dad never married to, or he married, my mother was crew ambassador. My next wife, my stepmom, she was Pele. So my dad never went and all all those guys with all the degree he had. He was thinking then. He was smart. This guy was thinking on what would happen when I'm dead and gone, what would happen in society some 100 years ago. And this guy, if I go and marry all these children, they're all Congo children, and we got to change in the government, and all these people you're talking about, we want our own people, guess what's going to happen? So he did. He married these women, and they had all their children. He liked his sugar cane business, cane juice. He was a manufacturer of cane juice, man. He loved. He lived on that thing. That's a sugar cane farm. That man had a sugar cane farm. When he cut one down, the other one's all ready to go. He put a lot of time into that. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's a good part of John. That's a good part. Jim, I tell you what, but Jim, I spent time with Jim most when I met him in Rhode Island, because in Liberia I used to see him sometime, but not like we used to stop there for a few minutes on our way to Crozierville. But I spent some time with Jimmy when he came here. He spent a week with me, a couple of weeks with me at the house. That's the only memory I have with Jim. Charles Charles Goodridge, he came to the house, he helped us build houses. He liked to build. That guy was a construction guy. Richmond was a young guy in the family. We used to hang out, go to the house, have some fun, sit there, play cards, and relax on weekends. So I would hang around with my uncle, young uncle. It was good. Oh, very good. Very good. Who else? Yeah, that's about all. Yeah. Liberia, that place. Now I look back, I say, wow, we had a great country. And the best part about Liberia is that you can build your own house and you don't have to pay mortgage. You got your own stuff. You're smart enough to do the right thing, or you do pay taxes. Like say for us, we had running water, but we had to put the water in the barrel. That's the only part. But we used to climb ladders and pour water. We used to be the pump. Oh, we were the pump. Man, we put real electric pump. But before that, we were the pump. We used to pull the water from the creek and put it in the drum. Yeah. But Liberia, I tell you, Liberia, those days, maybe we couldn't see other things because we were too young, but Liberia was a good country then. Because things were all right. We had American dollar, we were running 100%. I got married to Brenda Davis, I think in the 80s. I think either 82 or 83. And we were fortunate to have two kids, Amos and Bunny and Berdell and Amos the third. Yeah. And they're here doing well. I was just talking to one of the young generation a few days ago. She called me, Yvonne, and said to me, Uncle Amos, when I was growing up, you and your entrepreneur was made a difference in my life. And so I'm thinking about getting the young generation together to see they can keep the tradition going. I said, well, that would be a good thing. I said, but you gotta understand our backgrounds. I mean, it might look weak now, but we got a strong background. So we the family I know, they always held together. They said they always the 5 brothers or 6 brothers. They did things in unison. They always did things together. They respected one guy, the oldest guy. I say, and that one thing you got to remember, and that one thing you guys got to do. As long as you put the right person in charge and respect is the key. If you don't respect the older person that's in charge, I mean, notwithstanding, not everybody have the opportunity to be wealthy, or everybody have that kind of willpower. But just remember, give them the birthright. If you can do that, I think you'll be like I made you an example where we're having a meeting at Amos Goodridge one day, and they wanted to have somebody else, not somebody, but one of the husbands as chairman of Amos Goodridge family. So one of my brothers just got up and said, guys, I don't mind doing that, but this is what we do in our family. We do have an older sister. She is the head of the family. So we don't want, why are we going to have an election for somebody when we already got a leader? She is our leader, and I don't care whether you like her or not, by her birthright, she is the leader. So those are kind of things I like to put still into them. That you can have all the money in the world. Yes, it's good. You can have all the education. Yes, it's good. But put right belongs. You'll be all right.